All right, Tim Pool has been on his show and on X arguing, to the surprise of many in his audience, that the Austin Metcalf murder was self-defense. Or at least he's speculating that it may have been self-defense. He's taking the position that Carmelo Anthony may have killed Metcalf in self-defense. He's made this argument a few times. It's been kind of trending on social media. A lot of people very upset. Here's just one short clip from his show where he kind of lays this out.
There was an argument between Carmelo Anthony, who was from a rival school, who was there, and there were a bunch of kids from this town or whatever, and they got into an altercation. They told him he wasn't supposed to be there. Apparently they had words. Carmelo Anthony pulled a knife out from his bag and said, "Touch me and see what happens." Witnesses said either he was touched or grabbed. They were different witness accounts, but that Austin Metcalf did put hands on Carmelo, who then stabbed him once in the chest before running away. According to police, Carmelo Anthony, when he got apprehended or turned himself in, however the story goes, I mean, different accounts, he asked if Austin was going to be okay and said it was self-defense. He said he grabbed me and I said self-defense. The family is arguing it was self-defense. It's strange to me that with this story, the right is adamant that this kid just killed another kid and he should go to prison forever. And I'm like, we don't even know what happened. Like, you've got witness testimony that sounds like a fight happened at a school. Then I've heard the argument, yeah, well, he shouldn't have had a knife. He brought a knife to a school, and it's like, okay, what kind of knife was it? Was it a utility knife? Was it a switchblade? Was it a machete? Like, did he have a steak knife? Was he coming back from culinary class where he had fine Japanese blades for cutting cucumbers? I have no idea. You're allowed to carry knives I'm pretty sure in Texas, especially if it's like a utility blade. You're also not allowed to grab people. Like, nobody knows the exact specifics of this story with Carmelo and Metcalf. Some witnesses said that Austin touched Carmelo. Some say he grabbed him. Whatever. The courts will play it out. If weapons are banned, he's going to go to jail. However, in a general self-defense context, this is why I'm saying the story I find so confusing. We have always maintained, when it comes to self-defense, it is not the responsibility of the victim of an attack to determine the extent of that lethal force.
Yeah.
If they are being attacked, their perception of how far that force goes is it.
So let me. First of all, I like Tim. He's a great guy. He's been on a show a bunch of times. I like doing his show. No hard feelings at all. I disagree with him on this one strongly, though. I think he's wrong on this one. I don't think there's anything even approaching a legitimate self-defense claim here. So let's go over the facts as we understand them. And this is according to the witness testimony and the police report, and also just common sense. You know, I think all those things combined give us a pretty clear picture of what occurred. And yeah, innocent until proven guilty and all of that. He'll get his day in court, as he should. But innocent until proven guilty, that applies to the court system legally. It does not apply to the court of public opinion. We're allowed to arrive at our own conclusions. I mean, we know that O.J. Simpson, according to the courts, was not guilty, but the court of public opinion can look at the evidence the same way the actual jury did, and we can come to the conclusion that the jury got it wrong. And no jury has looked at this one yet, but we can look at the facts as they're currently known and come to some conclusions based on our own opinions about it. And that's what we're doing here. So as far as we know, what happened is that Carmelo Anthony went to the wrong tent at a track meet. He brought a knife with him to this track meet already. Now, if he had a knife on him and he just had it on him and obviously didn't use it to stab anybody, well, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But it's strange. Like, why are you bringing a knife to a track meet of all things? I mean, why? Why at a track meet? What's the purpose? And anyway, so he was in the wrong tent. He brought a knife with him. Already had it with him. Told to leave. If he gets up and leaves the place where he's not supposed to be, and he's told to leave. If he gets up and leaves right then everyone lives, nobody goes to jail, everything's fine, and none of us are talking about this. But he refuses to leave. He then challenges Metcalf and says, "Touch me and see what happens." Metcalf, at this point, grabs either Anthony himself or his book bag, different accounts, to try to get him out of the tent. So and I think it's not clear if this even happened, but if Metcalf grabbed Anthony, and no one is saying that that it was some kind of brutal, violent assault. If he made any physical contact, he grabbed him to get him out of the tent, right? And at that point, Anthony pulls out the knife and stabs him in the heart, runs away, dumps the murder weapon, and then admits to the police that he does not know whether what he did was self-defense. Because he asks the police if what he did would count as self-defense. Right? So, I mean, that fact alone pretty much sinks you. Everything else, I mean, even if he had said nothing, I'd have the same opinion on this, but him saying that alone, I mean, you would need the smartest defense attorney in the world, in history, to get around even just that. You have revealed your state of mind to the police, and you've made it clear that you at least don't know whether it was actually self-defense. So, why isn't it self-defense? Well, first of all, he instigated it by being in the wrong place and refusing to leave. He further instigated it by saying, touch me and see what happens. This is a guy looking for a pretext. He's provoking an altercation, looking for a pretext to commit violence. Very clearly. You cannot go to a place where you don't belong, refuse to leave, dare anyone to touch you, and then stab them when they do. You can't do that. That's not self-defense. That is you provoking every step of the way and then resorting to an absurdly disproportionate response when you get the response when you get what you're looking for. Anthony, in order to buy the self-defense claim, you would have to, first of all, ignore the fact that Anthony provoked the situation entirely. And then you'd have to believe that he was in fear for his life. Right? What matters is was he in fear for his life? But not just that, because we don't know. Like, anyone can claim that they had any kind of emotion going on inside them. That's a subjective. There's no way to know. Did he have a reasonable fear? Did he have a reasonable fear? Was there a real reason for him to fear for his life? Or is there a reasonable fear of some kind of lethal threat? Of course, does anyone believe that there was? Does anyone believe that Anthony truly thought Metcalf was going to kill him for being in the wrong tent at the track meet? Okay, grabbing someone and going, come on, buddy, you don't belong here. Okay, that is not a fatal situation. That's not a lethal situation, unless you make it one. Nobody believes that Metcalf was any kind of real threat to Anthony. Nobody believes that. Does anyone think that Austin Metcalf at this track meet was going to kill this guy for being in the wrong tent? Of course not. It's just ridiculous. And if Carmelo Anthony really did fear for his life, he could have left. When you're in a place where you don't belong and the people who are there don't want you there and they tell you to leave, if you fear for your life, what do? You leave. It's not like you're locked in. There's a tent. There's no doors. There's no door or wall. You just leave. If I'm under a tent where I don't belong and the people there say, you got to go, well, for me, because I'm just a reasonable human being, like most people, I'd already be gone. But if I feared for my life, that would be all the more reason to leave the tent. Standing up and saying, touch me and see what happens. That is not a statement of fear. That is the opposite. That is you making a threat. That is you making a threat. That is not you feeling threatened. Okay, what happened here very clearly to me is that Carmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf not because Anthony felt threatened, but because Anthony felt disrespected. That's what this is. We all know that. Again, I mean, I feel like I'm just consistently saying things that we all know. The whole scene showing up in the tent, you don't belong there. Someone tells you to leave. I'm not leaving. It's like, dude, you have no argument here. You don't belong here. You've been told to leave. You're not in the right, okay? You have to leave. It's not your tent, man. And then instead, touch me and see what happens. That every time, that's a routine that we're all familiar with, okay? The touch me and see what happens thing. That is you challenging. So that is a challenge. That's you asking for a physical altercation. And then if you do get touched and you respond, this is a matter of disrespect. You feel Carmelo Anthony felt disrespected that anyone would dare tell him to leave a place where he doesn't belong. How dare you? He felt disrespected and he killed somebody for it. And no, you don't. That's not allowed in a civilized society. We don't allow that. So there's no self-defense here. I think Tim got this one wrong, which is okay. We can have disagreements. And the other point that I want to make here before we move on is that, Tim is getting fairly ripped to shreds on X right now, with a lot of people saying that he's a traitor and a grifter and all this because he took this position on the Austin Metcalf thing. He's wrong, in my opinion. We really need to get away from this thing where anyone who disagrees is automatically some kind of Judas, some kind of con artist, a grifter, right? I mean, I've talked about this before. This is one of the most annoying things about discourse, what passes for discourse and debate in modern American culture, is that we don't even debate anymore. We just don't, because anyone who disagrees is automatically a scam artist. They're automatically a grifter. It's like it's not possible for anyone to actually have an opposing view. And if they do, then it's always just like a game that they're playing. It can never be that, well, maybe they actually just think that and they're simply wrong. That's possible. So people can have differing opinions and we can argue about it, and we can argue passionately, as I so often do, but not everything. We don't always have to jump every time to, this person disagreed. Total con artist. Revoke his membership in the club. He's not part of it anymore. Never listening to you again. Unsubscribed. I'm done with you. It doesn't always have to be that every time. It really doesn't. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.